Welcome to the Lion's Share podcast, where we break down today's most impactful research and bring fresh insights from the academic frontier straight to you.
Have you ever thought about how every single time you interact with a business, whether it's like grabbing coffee or planning something big, it's usually more than just buying something. It feels like it's rarely just about the product anymore. It's the whole thing, right? From when you first realize you need something, all the way through to long after you've bought it, there's this whole, sometimes hidden dance going on. Today, we're diving deep into a really key paper. It's from 2016 by Katherine and Peter Verhoef, and it's called Understanding Customer Experience Throughout the Customer Journey. Our mission here is pretty straightforward. Pull out the most important stuff from this paper for you. We want to get clear on what customer experience actually is, look at where it came from in marketing its roots, go surprisingly deep, and figure out why managing every step of your journey as the customer is suddenly such a huge deal for companies. Hopefully by the end, you'll kind of have this new lens. You'll be able to look at those interactions and see the strategy, or maybe the lack of strategy, behind them. Okay, so let's unpack this. The paper starts right off by defining customer experience, or CX. They call it a multidimensional construct. It sounds a bit academic, maybe.
Yeah, multidimensional construct does sound heavy. But all it really means is that the experience affects you in lots of different ways all at once. It's your thoughts about it that's the cognitive part, your feelings, the emotional side, what you actually do, your behavior, what your senses, pick up sight, sound, smell, touch, that's sensorial, and even how you interact with others about it, or the brand itself, the social aspect.
Wow, okay. So it's hitting all those levels.
Exactly. And the crucial bit is, it's not just about one moment in time, it's about all of those responses together across the entire time you're interacting with the company or product, your whole purchase journey.
So it's not just whether I like my toffee, but maybe how easy the app was to order on, how the barista greeted me, did I post a picture of it, all of that.
Precisely. It's the whole layered experience.
Very holistic.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And this whole rich layered thing unfolds. The paper talks about the customer journey, right?
Mm-hmm. The customer journey. That's the path you navigate. The paper breaks it down neatly into three main stages. Think of it like planning a holiday. First up, you've got the pre-purchase stage. This is everything before you buy. Realizing you need a break, looking up destinations, reading reviews, comparing prices, all that dreaming and research.
Right, the initial searching and considering phase.
Yeah. Then comes the purchase stage. This is the actual transaction. Choosing the flight, booking the hotel, paying for it, making the commitment.
Okay, the action part.
And finally, there's the post-purchase stage. This is everything after the main purchase. Actually going on the holiday, using the service, contacting customer support if something goes wrong, sharing photos afterwards, maybe even starting to think about your next trip because you enjoyed this one, or complaining about it.
So it extends way beyond just handing over the money. Usage, service, loyalty, word of mouth. It's all in there.
Exactly. Every single step from that first thought to long after is part of this journey. And what's really interesting here and where it gets complicated for businesses is that this journey isn't just one straight road. It's not linear at all. It's actually made up of tons of individual interactions, little moments. And the paper calls these touch points.
Touch points. Okay, like specific moments of contact.
Exactly. Points of contact between you and the firm all along that journey. And they break these down into four really important types, which helps understand who controls what. First, you've got brand-owned touch points. These are the ones the company directly creates and manages. Think advertising, their website, the salespeople, the product itself, the packaging, loyalty programs, stuff they design and control.
Okay, the obvious company stuff.
Then partner-owned touch points. This involves other companies. So like buying through a retailer instead of direct, maybe a shared loyalty program with another brand, or even, say, the App Store where you download their app. The platform owner influences things too.
Right, interactions they manage, but maybe don't fully control because there's a partner involved.
Precisely. Now, where it gets really interesting is with the customer-owned touch points. These are things you do as the customer pretty much independently.
Like what?
Well, it could be just you thinking things over in the pre-purchase stage, or deciding how you want to pay. Or a great example they use is IKEA hacking, where people buy IKEA stuff and then modify it or use it in completely different ways.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that online. People get really creative.
Exactly. That's a customer-owned touch point. You're taking their product, but shaping your own experience with it. Outside of their intended use, you're kind of in the driving seat there.
That's fascinating. So the company provides the parts. but you build your own unique experience.
And finally, the fourth category, social external independent touchpoints. These are influences totally outside the company's direct control. We're talking peer recommendations, what your friends say, online review sites, good or bad, conversations on social media, even broader things like the state of the economy or, a major global event, all that external noise.
Wow. So reviews, social media, friends, the economy. That's a huge amount of influence they don't control.
A massive amount.
It really is eye-opening when you lay it all out like that. The sheer number and, the variety of these touch points, especially the customer-owned ones and those social external ones. It makes the whole idea of a neat marketing funnel seem quaint, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows how messy and complex the reality is.
But hang on, if firms have so little control over so many of these touch points, especially those external ones, does that mean managing the customer experience becomes almost impossible? Or does it just change how they need to think about it?
That's the crux of it. That reduced control, as the paper puts it, is exactly why managing the experience is so difficult, but also why it's become absolutely critical. It forces a shift. Companies can't just broadcast messages and push products anymore. They have to listen more, react more, try to understand, and maybe influence that fragmented landscape where they can. It means they need to be much more integrated internally.
Okay, so it makes management more important, not less, because they have to navigate all this complexity.
Precisely.
So we understand what CX is now and the journey and touch points. But let's get to the why now. The paper says creating a strong CX is a leading management objective. That sounds pretty serious. But is CX really a new thing? Or is it just, old wine in new bottles, a buzzword for stuff marketers have always talked about?
That's a great question. And the paper actually does a really nice job of connecting the dots historically. They argue it's less of a completely brand new idea and more of an integration and maybe a refocusing of ideas that have been developing in marketing for decades. They trace its lineage way back. You can see elements in the early models of how people make buying decisions from the 60s and 70s. Think ADA, awareness, interest, desire, action. Then came the focus on customer satisfaction in the 70s.
Okay, just making sure people were happy after buying.
Yeah. Then in the 80s, a big focus on service quality, which gave us tools like service blueprinting, trying to map out those service interactions, an early form of journey mapping, really.
Like mapping the steps in a restaurant experience.
Exactly. The 90s brought relationship marketing thinking beyond single transactions to building long-term connections. Then the 2000s saw the rise of CRM, customer relationship management systems, and the whole idea of customer centricity, using data to understand customers better.
Right, the database era.
And most recently, say the 2010s, the focus shifted towards customer engagement, recognizing that you, the customer, aren't just passive recipients, but actively involved.
So CX kind of pulls all those threads together: satisfaction, service, relationships, data, engagement.
Exactly. It's the culmination, but viewed through this modern lens of the entire journey and all those touch points, especially the ones outside the firm's control. The urgency is perhaps what feels new.
And that urgency really jumps out. You mentioned the paper cites that Accenture study from 2015 showing CX improvements, getting the most #1 votes from executives on their priority lists. That's huge. Why the sudden intense focus right at the top level? What changed?
Well, several big things converged, really. First, just the sheer explosion of those myriad touch points we talked about. You interact with companies on their websites, apps, social media, in stores, through call centers. Managing that consistently, what they call omni-channel management, is incredibly hard.
Right. You expect it to be seamless switching between your phone and the store.
Yeah.
But that's tough to deliver.
Very tough. Second, experiences have become much more social. What other people say online, peer influence, it's hugely powerful and, again, largely outside the company's direct control.
So word of mouth on steroids, basically.
Pretty much. And third, related to all this, is that firms just have much less control overall. Think about showrooming people, looking at products in a physical store than buying cheaper online from a competitor. That's a direct result of this fragmented journey and shifting power.
I've definitely done that.
Haven't we all? So tackling this requires breaking down internal silos. You need IT, operations, marketing, HR, customer service, even external partners all working together. It's a massive organizational challenge.
It sounds less like a marketing initiative and more like a fundamental shift in how the entire company needs to operate. Every company is now essentially a customer experience company, whether they planned it that way or not.
That's a great way to put it. The paper really drives home that you can't afford not to manage this holistically anymore. It demands that customer-centric view across the board. It's not just marketing's job. It's everyone's responsibility.
Okay, so given it's this complex, cross-functional beast, how do companies actually manage it effectively? The paper talks about customer experience management, or CXM. What does that involve?
Right, CXM. The paper defines it as the actual process of strategically managing a customer's entire experience. So it's not just letting it happen, it's actively designing, delivering, and overseeing that journey. And crucially, it highlights the need for that multidisciplinary approach, getting all those different parts of the company, IT, marketing, operations, service, HR, to actually collaborate. And underpinning it all, they stress, needs to be a genuinely customer-centric focus, putting you, the customer, at the heart of decisions.
So it's about strategy, design, and getting everyone on the same page internally, focused on the customer journey.
Yes, and often leveraging technology and data analytics to understand what's happening at all those touch points and how to improve things.
The paper uses Disney's Magic Band as a big example. That really brings CXM to life, doesn't it? How does that work?
Well, it's a fantastic example. Disney apparently invested over $1 billion in the Magic Band and the related My Magic Plus system. And their explicit goal was, quoting the paper, to root out all the friction in the park experience.
Root out friction. I like that. So make things easier, smoother.
Exactly. The Magic Band, that wristband thing, lets guests do almost everything. Enter the park, unlock their hotel room, pay for food merchandise, access the Fast Pass system for rides.
Wow. Okay. One band to rule them all.
Pretty much. And the online My Magic Plus tool lets you plan your whole trip in advance, book ride times, character meetings, meals. It's all about reducing waiting, minimizing hassle points, optimizing how people move through the parks. It strengthens those pre-purchase planning stages and makes the purchase and post-purchase, the actual park visit stages, much smoother and more personalized. It's a massive, tech-enabled, end-to-end CXM effort.
That scale of investment is just incredible. And the level of personalization they can achieve, it sounds like they're trying to anticipate what you want almost before you do. It really shows they're thinking about that entire journey.
Absolutely. It's a benchmark example. And the paper implicitly makes the point that when one company, especially a beloved brand like Disney, delivers that kind of seamlessness,
It raises expectations everywhere else.
exactly. You experience that, and then you wonder why, say, dealing with your bank or your utility company feels so clunky in comparison. Even if it's a totally different industry with different economics, it puts pressure on everyone to up their game.
That's a really powerful ripple effect. Okay, one last key area. Measuring all this. If CX is so important, how do companies know if they're doing a good job? Is there like a single magic number, a universal CX score?
Measurement. That's still a bit of a challenge. According to the paper, they conclude there's not yet agreement on robust measurement approaches for the overall CX. Traditional things like customer satisfaction scores, CSET, and the Net Promoter Score, NPS, how likely are you to recommend us? They found those still predict firm performance reasonably well, about equally well, actually.
So the old metrics aren't useless.
Not useless, no, but the paper suggests that just relying on one metric probably isn't enough to capture that rich, multidimensional experience we talked about earlier. They hint that using a combination of different metrics likely gives a better picture.
Okay, so maybe satisfaction plus effort scores plus something else.
Potentially, yeah. The challenge is finding metrics that truly capture the whole journey across all touch points and reflect those cognitive, emotional, behavioral dimensions. It's complex, and researchers are still working on finding the best ways to measure it accurately and concisely.
Which really underscores how complex the thing they're trying to measure actually is.
It does. It's not a simple concept, so measuring it simply is proving difficult.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it seems clear that customer experience isn't just some marketing fad. It's really the sum total of every single interaction you have with a company. And crucially, many of those interactions are happening way outside the company's direct control now. And this reality is forcing businesses to look way beyond just selling stuff. They have to understand that whole messy, customer-driven journey, or they risk becoming irrelevant.
That's a great summary of the core message.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. We, as customers, get influenced by truly great experiences, right? Think about how smooth using an Apple product feels, or that seamless Disney trip we discussed. It makes you wonder, in this hyper-connected world where brilliant experiences stand out, are all companies now effectively competing against every other great customer experience out there, no matter the industry? Is your local coffee shop now competing on some level with Amazon's delivery speed or Netflix's personalization? What does that mean for your expectations, and how on earth can businesses keep up? Something to think about.
Thanks for tuning into the Lion's Share podcast. If you enjoyed today's discussion, share it with a friend and join us next time for more ideas worth talking about. We'll see you next time.